Hey everybody, Ben Frederickson here alongside Jeff Gordon talking Blues hockey. Gordo, let's start with a show and tell. On my desk, I keep a practice puck from Winnipeg, where the Blues started their run to a Stanley Cup championship. It flew over the wall as I was taking notes. I thought, well, this postseason probably won't last very long. I'll just keep this as a memento of going to Canada. Turns out the Blues go and win the whole thing. It's a good reminder for me. I use it as a coaster to think of, you never quite know where a season is going to go. You got to kind of keep that in mind. Sometimes guys turn things around, sometimes really good teams fall off. The Blues, they're going to have to be a team that surpasses outside expectations if they want to get into the playoffs this year. A lot of that's going to come down to the defense. They didn't change many players. There was a lot of talk about how this defense struggled last year. Jordan Binnington's numbers weren't good, Gordo. The team says, well, they didn't play very good defense in front of them. So when you start to see the Blues prepare to launch a new season, and you're seeing a lot of the same faces among the defensemen, and Craig Berube's putting a lot of the same defensive pairings together, and the only thing that's really changed are some of the assistant coaches and perhaps some of the defensive coaching. How confident are you that the Blues can play a good enough defensive system this year, that they can get some offensive guys to be a little bit better on the defensive end and be a more competitive team than what we saw last season, which ended, of course, in raising the white flag at the trade deadline?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those. I'm going to believe it when I see it. It's just kind of a badly constructed defensive unit, and with guys locked into contracts, and in Torrey Krug's case, unwilling to go elsewhere. At least this summer, he was not wanting any part of John Tortorella and going to Philly. Understandably, this putting Torrey Krug in the top four, putting him in some defensive situations, playing with Justin Falk, who's very solid. That's going to be a big thing to watch. Can Torrey Krug make the big bounce back? He wants to be here. He didn't want to leave. He had a lot of focus on him last year. He's had trouble staying healthy. He's a good power play quarterback. That's going to be his lead role. He's going to lead the top unit. That's going to be what he hangs his hat on. But they need him to play well at even strength. Nick Leddy miscast as a shutdown defenseman, went through his entire career without being considered a shutdown defenseman, yet here he finds himself once again with Colton Parayko in a position that he's not comfortable in. He should be a third pairing D-man, moving the puck. So should Krug. Both have to play in the top four. And then your third pairing, Marco Scandella, who does look better coming back, more removed from his surgery. He's moving around fine, but now he's got a young guy in Tucker that might play quite a bit with him this year. Tucker's a willing player, but can he play well enough with the puck to make a difference? Can he kill penalties? Can he take some defensive zone starts? We'll see. So really, it's a group that what they did last year. It wasn't good enough. Can they collectively be better, Benford? That's the question. I do think bringing Oscar Sundqvist back to anchor the fourth line is a big deal. And also I take a look at what Kevin Hayes can do coming back and giving him another responsible guy who can come back and play in the defensive zone. Heady player, good size player. And Braden Shen also in that role as a center coming back playing defense. But it's a lot, man. I tell you what, we're going to be watching very closely. Right off the bat, they go play a very explosive Dallas Stars team that's got three good offensive lines. So by this time next week, we'll know more. In 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll know even more, Benfred.
I want to be optimistic about the Blues, Gordo. I want to give them a chance. I've heard from some fans who said, look, we should just tank it, try to get the draft pick, just keep this kind of retooling and really expedite it. And I say, hold on a second. This team shouldn't be bad. This team should be competitive. And this team should perhaps be able to convince Doug Armstrong and Tom Stillman to maybe get them more help if they play the right way. What are the signs we need to see? Yeah, they don't need to give up goals. They need to score. They need to win game. I want to see, tangible effort, edge, chemistry, positive things on the ice beyond just the results. This team has talked a lot about how it kind of lost its culture last year. It talked a lot about maybe some things that were pulling the locker room apart a little bit. They're young guys with big contracts and old proven guys with free agent wonderings going on. All that's gone. I mean, this team has a new captain. It has a coach that ownership and management believe in. Craig Berube's now the fifth longest tenured coach in the NHL. I'd like to see real buy-in and signs that the Berube way, the Berube system, that kind of tough, heavier than they are on the scale, on the ice mentality that help them compete and win a championship. Can we see signs of that get back? Is it too much to ask for this group to maybe not have as many wins, but to have that style and that appeal, that tangible look on the ice that they lost last year?
Well, Chief got some guys he likes. He loves Sundquist. He's got him back. He loves Sammy Blay, who's a bulldozer. He's got him back. So he feels like there can, Toropchenko's the guy that plays that style. Chief loves him. He's just a bulldozer as well. So they feel like they have that element. But I think we're all going to watch the first line. Is that going to be a great line, a potential dominant line with Thomas, Kyrou, and Buchnevich, who's a really good all-around player? Or will once again Thomas and Kyrou go through some of these lulls that make fans complain angrily about their long-term contracts that have now kicked in? So I'm going to watch that first line to see that if that first line can dominate. I think the rest of the parts on the front lines behind them, there's a lot of character there. There's a lot of size there. There's some grit there. I'm going to watch that first group and see if it's going max effort playing both ends of the ice.
Yeah, this feels like the year where if the Blues are going to be a playoff team, those contracts to Thomas, the contracts to Kyrou, they have to go from being big bets to looking like they're bargains. This is the season where those guys have to look like the Blues were smart to bet on them as future stars, not just for the Blues, but for the NHL. And they're to the point now where they should be able to show that more consistently. If not, the Blues could be in a tough spot because their defense, we got a question mark on, and their offense, if those guys don't step up, Gordo, their offense probably doesn't score as easily as the past version did, and that would be a problematic combination for the Blues. We're not down on them. We just need to see some things before we put our Blues sweaters on. Gordo, good stuff. Keep it locked at stltoday.com for all of your Blues coverage. We've got a great season preview coming out I think you guys are really going to enjoy. For Gordo, I'm Ben. We'll talk to you next time.